artists around the world. Teaching artists around the world. Artists around the world. Teaching artists around the world.
So I'm going to go ahead and spotlight you and Irmak, so you guys can lead the conversation. And we usually do about like 30 minutes of conversation between y'all, and then we'll open that up to Q&A for the group to kind of engage with. And yeah, you can feel free to get started whenever you're ready.
Awesome.
Are you ready?
Super ready. Was born ready.
I know. First of all, should we talk about a little bit about you?
Sure.
Säye opened his scarf at the television, national television or national television of the Iran, and he rapped about lesbian love.
Yes, and queer love. Yes.
And then he suddenly ran out of the Iran. And we met in Turkey 10 years ago, more than 10 years ago. And he showed up at some popular television series in Turkey, some talk shows. And he talked about queer love and queer movement, and it was so new in Turkey too. It was getting a little bit powerful in that time, and it was revolutionary to do that, because he had those cloudy blue hairs, and he was like, "Yeah, lesbian love." And we were like, "Whoa, what are you doing?" Okan Bayülgens.
That's right.
And then he moved to Toronto, and I was so lucky to see his performance at the Toronto Pride. He was amazing, and he was killing it. He was talking about the Middle East in the stage. He was rapping, and everyone was naked, and this was also revolutionary, I think. And for a few years, he's in Berlin, and he's performing between Berlin and Toronto. And he has an amazing cat called Dali. He's
That's right. Yes. One thing I need to mention is the interview that I had. My first interview, actually with a video interview that I had, because when I was in Iran and I released the song, I recorded 3 songs about queer rights in Iran, and this information or these songs were like, I don't know, one of their kind because of the regime. And I was giving interviews within Iran on the phone with different countries. But when I had to leave, I went to Turkey, and I had my first visual interview at a studio for this channel called VOA, Voice of America for Persians, from Ankara. And that was where I actually took off my shirt, and underneath my shirt was another shirt that mentioned the Green Movement, Neda Agha Sultan, who was killed on the streets during that time. And yeah, this was, and also on the shirt was written Zan Zendegi, woman, life. And today we are hearing woman, life, freedom, which is amazing. And I just wanted to adjust the first part that you mentioned about the interview.
Yeah. Yes. I don't know. I'm finding you so revolutionary. So you recorded some songs in Iran's, which is happened so underground.
Oh yeah, it was really underground because first of all, at the time I identified as a woman and lesbian, and I lived a lesbian life in Iran. And when I went to the underground rap studios, and imagine rap studios, rap is so forbidden in Iran. And to this day still, you cannot have a sign that says rap studio to begin with. So these studios were always like hidden underground. Like one studio was like 3 floors under the ground, actually, like literally under the ground. But I had some problems because the content of my songs were about queer rights, and a lot of these guys, these cis macho toxic masculine guys, they did not want to record the song with me, or they would kick me out of the studio, and it was hard for me to find somebody at the end that was like, okay, you can record it at my studio, come after midnight, do not tell anybody that you're recording at my studio, I don't want anybody to know this. And he charged me a lot also. And I was just like, I'm gonna record these songs, and I recorded 3 songs in his studio. And yes, and I'm so proud of these songs because, you know, always during these times in Iran, the regime always tried to portray an image that LGBTQ rights, queers, I don't know, this phenomena is from outside, from the West. This is not from this country. We don't have gays. Like Ahmadinejad said that we don't have gays in Iran, in a university in the United States. And this was false. We were everywhere during the Green Movement. We were fighting shoulder by shoulder with everybody else because we were fighting for freedom. And I was also in the protest, involved in the protest. And so it was really important to record these songs in Iran, in Tehran, and release them from Tehran. I mean, I released the first one and I had to leave after. But so we make a point that we do exist here, and you cannot erase us, or you cannot say that this is coming from the West. We've been in the Persian poetry since thousands of years ago, but you burned those books during Safaviya dynasty. But yeah, I mean, we've always been there.
Of course. Can we hear a bit of the songs?
A bit of the songs, yes. Would you hear it if I played from my computer?
I think so.
Let's try. So this is Bidari that I'm gonna play for you. This song, a lot of people told me that they came out to their parents, to their family members with this song. One specific teenager messaged me on Instagram and said, hey, I played your song the other day for my mother, and I left the house and I called her after and I said, Mom, that's me in the song. Can I come home? And I was like, I mean, I didn't know what to say, but I was like, are you safe? My first question was like, are you safe? And I was like, yeah, my mom hugged me after, and it was just amazing. I mean, your song really touched her. And I was like, wow, this is incredible that this is happening. And, you know, I feel like Bidari is a song about any oppressed queer person, specifically those who identify themselves as non-binary women. And this is for them because there's so much struggle that they have to go through, and it's hidden. It's kind of like this don't ask, don't tell thing in the society of Iran. And I know that people don't pay attention to it as much as they should. But yes, we have forced marriages. A friend of mine this is actually the true story of a friend of mine who was forced to marry a guy, and but she was queer, she was lesbian, and she was going through hell with that experience. And these are real experiences that I'm talking about this song. So this is called Bidari, and it actually has English translation on the video, so you can, if you want to watch it, you can watch it too.
You can share screen. Share your screen.
All right, let's really bad with Zoom. Let's
Also,
see.
there is death penalty for queer people.
Yes, absolutely. There's death penalty, and they recently gave execution order to 2 queer activists from Iran.
داستانو میگه سکای گوش بدن خرافه پرستاتون رو باید کنار بیاین با ما اینه تنها را دختری از زیر و تبار مذهبی مادر سختگیر و یه پدر عصبی عشق همجنسشون رو رسون به جنون دلخون از نگاه معنا داره اینو زد دلو به دریا گفت من انسانه میگذرم من واسه حقم از جانه مادر عشق نداره که هیچ حد و مرزی نکن با زندگی دخترت بازی من مثل شما بنده همون خدام همجنسگرام ولی نمیشه ادعا پوزخند تلخیره لب مادرش رفت دل دختر نقص بشه باورش پدر با اشتیاق حرفاشو خوب دارکو زیر مشترک تفلکی شد بیهوش تو زجه بزن و بکن استغفار مگه نمیدونی زن یعنی استثمار واسه تعمید دادن اونو زیر آب جوش چون نهی از منکر وظیفه رو دوش چرخیدن تو مطبخ و کتک خوردن باشه کنجه اونو خونه شوهر بردن شبا تنش رو استخ بگیره دسته مرد ولی هنوزم عشق زن و زمزمه میکرد آینه نشستن و خیره شدن کاری از پیش نمیبره پس باشو زن برداشت تلفن رو گرفت یه شماره ترسش این بود نکنه که بر نداره تا شنید صداشو یهو دلش لرزید مغز جا خوش کرده توی گلوش ترکی من میخوام بشم از عشق تو دیوونه داد میزنم تو همه دنیا بدونه از باورم هیچ شرمی ندارم من خوابیدم با مرد و دوست ندارم بازن موازی بینشون دیوار چین لسبیان امیر کبیر ایران همام فین از لسبیان ایرانی از افباره فهمن لسه زندگیش خجنزاره چه سرایی که به دار سنت آویر چه خونایی که واسه کشف گل ریخ میگی لسبیان تو ایران نه محاله ولی جونشو میگیره سنگ وسط چاله لسبیان زیاره زیر پوسته ایران ماس کن چشتو ببین من همینجا یه زدی بازدی بیان قال لسبیان آدم با هر عقیده حق زندگی داره خیلی وقت دیگه تنها به زور روسیده چنگ بزن و میدو سای سکای رسیده زن زندگی تو دست خودت بگیر واسه هدفت کشتش و اما نمیگی زنه بشتش با چوبه دار تو همه زنی که معشوق زنه بشنوین همه سر صحنه توی تئاتر زندگی زن یه سیاهی لشکر همیشگی نه حق داره عشقشو ابراز کنه نمیتونه سفره دلشو باز کنه اجتماع واسه اون مثل جهنمه اشتباه نکن ولی اونه که مریمه نمیخواد با یه مرد روی تخت بخوابه اینه میسوزونه شماها رو این عذابه زن بگیره تصمیم جای زن مذکر چرا خاک وطن خالی از حقوق بشر سنگسار روح تو قرن 21 مدعی که با خدا داری سلام علیک آخه چیکار کرده مگه به جرم چی چون رو تنه یه زن کردن نقاشی چرا زنی که حتی نداره احساسی به من روزی 100 بار بکن آرزوی من آمار طلاقا میدونی چرا بالاست نگو زن نسازه ببین اشکال کجاست تا زنده است عاشق همجنسشه حتی اگه مردش بهترین باشه این حس قوی‌تر از قانون جاذبه واسه بین اون و مرد فیل دافعه است زن نمیمیره نمیپوسه نمیشه داغوت از فکر توی که مبتلاست به تام همجنس بازی هست یه مقوله جدا خیلی توفیر داره با همجنسگرا تو با جنس مخالف خوبی خب باش ولی حق لسبیان هم از سر جاش یه گذشته داری زور و تهدید تفسیر بردگی زن و سی تهدید
My God, it is amazing to see how your music evolves.
Yeah, I mean, that was basically working with nothing. That guy was not giving me anything, and this was my second song that I recorded ever. Like, imagine, like, I didn't have. Yeah, today I have TNE, and I recorded TNE in Germany, and it's good to see the revolution, I guess, in my music. But even the cover of this song is the Azadi Tower, is the Freedom Tower in Tehran. Maybe you have seen some photos of people being around it and taking photos when they take off their the forced hijab or they're fighting. And this was so revolutionary to use that tower and have the signs on top and basically have the Photoshop paint in the colors of the rainbow and be like, this is what freedom means. And that photo of me with a hoodie is actually in Iran. I was in north of Iran by the sea. And it's like, but yeah, but this whole music was made with really basically nothing. It was just so important to make a point and put the message out there. And when there was no internet, I gave the CD to my then girlfriend, and then I said, hey, just take this and put it on YouTube, just whatever, like, you know. And I never thought in my wildest imagination that this could change my life, or they would even pay attention to me, who was I, like, and nobody in this massive revolution movement, green movement. We were like 5 million people in the streets of Tehran with peace sign, quiet. And I didn't think that they would pay attention to someone like me, but my conversations were being recorded for 6 months as this was going on. And you can imagine the bravery of this generation, this young teenagers, these kids, 12 years old kids who go to streets, stand in front of bullets, and they're demanding freedom. And this is incredible what we see today, because the regime is the most brutal regime of all times. It's like, to me, these images that I see today from Iran are incredible, because these kids are fighting with their bodies, with their empty hands. I saw a video 2 days ago from the morning of Jina Mahsa Amini's 40th day. I saw people, teenagers, in front of the guards, the regime's guards. They were bending on the ground, hands open. They were like, you wanna hit me, kill me. And this act is just phenomenal. This is a generation that does not settle for anything less than freedom for everybody. And this is their message, and they will not, you cannot shut them down. I think the world needs to really jump on this train and acknowledge that this is Iran's revolution, that teenagers are leading it today.
There was a little girl, there was 2 guards, and they were holding her from her arms. She was like 7 years old or 8 years old maybe, and she was like, and it was amazing. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. This, and imagine, like, in places like Zahedan, Sistan, Baluchistan, which is the most underprivileged state in Iran, and they're actually one of the oldest tribes living in Iran, and they've been ethnically cleansed by this regime so many times, attacks upon attacks, killing the Baluchis in Iran. And I saw so many of their kids dying and still going to the streets. And imagine, this is like a really, really underprivileged minority. And the fact that we don't get a lot of videos from them is that the poverty is so much that they don't even have cell phones that can record films. And you would think that's how is that Iran has one of the most resources in the world, and this state has been kept underprivileged for so many years, and they're still today. You know what their chant was? Az Zahedan ta Tehran, janam fadai Iran. From Zahedan to Tehran, my life for Iran and my life for freedom. Imagine this 43 years of division did not work, and people are so united from all angles, from Kurdish community to Baluchi community to Turkish community to Arab community in the south. Everybody is united, and this is what we wanted for all these years, and it's finally happening, and this is incredible to see. That's why you see the Iranians, and not only Iranians, we have Afghans who live in Iran, and they face so much fascism and racism in Iran as well. You know, if you're an Iranian woman, first of all, your rights are half of a man in Iran anyway. And then if you marry an Afghan woman, an Afghan man, your kid cannot have papers and passports and birth certificates. The fascism is so beyond. In this one sentence, I just told you about fascism, racism, and sexism. Imagine what a person of minority, like an Afghan refugee, goes through if they're a trans person, if they're a queer person. And where is their right? Where is the human right? So today, that's why you see Afghan community coming to the demos. And that's why I go to their demos, because we're going through the same struggle. And what is happening right now in Taliban, I'm going to use this time to also talk about Taliban, because Afghan girls do not have access to education anymore. All the schools are closed after the brutal attack that they did in Hazara school. They killed more than 64 students. And after that, it was their excuse to close all the school, girls' school forever, permanently. And this is horrible. We cannot leave Afghanistan behind, because you know what? Jin, Jian, Azadi, woman life freedom, Zan Zendegi Azadi, does not only belong to Iran. It's for any person under oppression in the world. That's why we need to stand behind this movement, because Iranian people, queers, women, non-binary, trans people are fighting for all of us today. That's why we need to be this voice today, because I saw a photo from Sudan. A woman was holding a sign that says woman life freedom in Sudan. You can see the scope of this movement, and it can free so many souls. That's why it's so important to stand behind it.
There was a video, an old lady was shouting and there was a flower in her hand. And I was like, wait, I know that exact scene. And I remember that scene from the Kurdish movement in Ahmet or in Mardin. And the same scene was also has a photograph in Taksim Square for the Cumartesi sahneleri, Saturday mothers whose sons or kids are killed in the fascist regime. They got lost and they cannot find their bodies, and they are wanting their kids' bodies in that protest. So yeah, we are also using Jinjian Azadi.
Yeah, and I also this is something that I actually saw and I loved, because the fascism that's going on in Turkey also, it's beyond comprehension. And the fact that Erdogan realized, oh, wait a second, Jinjian Azadi around the corner, coming to us now. Okay, we have some areas that are forcing women and people to wear hijab. Otherwise, they cannot work in these official government areas. Now he came up with the fact, okay, it's optional if you want to wear it. I don't know the extent of how practical it is, or if it is practicing, or if they're silently shutting people down if they take their forced job off. But this is the power of this movement, because it goes beyond, and other politicians realize, oh, wait a second, this can also happen in my country. Oh, I'm controlling people, so maybe I need to let it loose a little bit. But if you know the true definition and the message of Jinjian Azadi, nobody would settle for anything less than Jinjian Azadi. And that's the point that we need to send across.
There was one article and it was saying that a woman from Iran wrote it, and she was saying that we are not going outside of our houses for killing. We are not thinking about that. We are free from that idea. We are just wanting our freedom. And this is only idea that is turning in our head. We are not thinking that we can be killed.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the thing is, if you look at the footage and the videos that are coming out of Iran right now, you realize one thing. So many videos of the government regime's guards that are destroying public property, destroying personal properties, hitting the windows, smashing cars, all of this. You see that. You never see people doing that. You know why? Because this is not what the people are coming out to the streets. That's not the message, loitering or anything like that. And they try so hard with their propaganda to try to show this, but they're so bad at covering for themselves that all these videos are coming up from them with all these gears and batons hitting everything. And let me tell you something. People come out, they want to protest, and protesting is a form of human rights, and people have to be able to protest. Because if wait a second, slavery was a law one time. If there is something that is wrong, you need to be able to criticize it. You need to be able to criticize it and not get killed for it. But this regime is against any kind of criticism. They want to shut it down through internet, through killing people, through, okay, you know, a dictatorship that is killing 8-year-olds, 7-year-olds, children. They're going to schools with heavy trucks, army trucks, with so many guards who are from head to toe covered in tools and weapons, going to teenager schools and girls' schools only, and killing them, beating them to the point that they're just dying. This, when you see this, when you're facing this, defending your life is also a human right, because you cannot just get killed. They did not come out to get killed. They came out to peacefully protest, and they never given that right. In fact, the children were killed and are getting killed right now. Of course, people are gonna stand up for themselves and fight with empty hands. And this is anybody's human rights. Imagine right now, we are having this meeting. Imagine if we were in person meeting, right? People would attack us for no reason. We're having this secular meeting. People would attack us. What would you do? You would run. You would try to talk them out of it. You would do something, right? You would defend yourself, because you genuinely believe this is wrong, fundamentally wrong, to kill children. And you know what? I saw this image that was coming out, 3 girls. And maybe you guys can see that. There are 3 girls holding the forced scarf in their hands like this, shaking it in the air and singing, "Woman, life, freedom, woman, life, freedom." 7 years old. 7. You can imagine the brilliance and the wisdom that Iranian children and youth have. And this is under a regime that kept people so underprivileged, out of access to information, out of access, like, you know, creating so much chaos and enemies out of enemies, out of enemies, not giving them any chance to be themselves, to stand up for their rights. But you cannot shut them down, because as you and I see a fraction of what is going on in Iran, they're seeing it every day. And they're not afraid of going back to the streets again, because you know what? They see their friends, their classmates are dying, and they get more angry, and they want their freedom. They deserve it. They see that on social media, Any other country, they're living a life. Kids go to school. After school, they go play. They don't go to a protest. They don't get killed. And this is not what they want. They deserve that freedom and democracy, and they're going to get it.
So let's listen to TNE and
Yeah, sure.
get into the Q&A session.
So TNE.
I'm in love with the video of the TNE.
Thank you. I directed myself. It was a very amazing experience. 23 people from all over Germany showed up. I sent them emails. They were all professional people. And I told them this is for unity. This is for Iran. And we did it in -15 and outside of Hamburg. And yeah, I stand behind this project 100%. And this is my first song after I left Iran. I had a pause for a few years because I was really sad because I could not go back to Iran, and I was angry at a lot of stuff. And then I realized every time, no matter what I do in life, I come back home, I write, and that's my calling, and I should just surrender and allow it to happen. And yes, TNE is a product of that. Allow me to put the subtitle on again. And subtitle on, and then I share. How's that?
Better for me.
تنهایی مثل سوزنه، مثل الکل میره زیر پوست تو، مثل آرو پنجره خود لحظه یه توف کردن لخت خونه خونه، مثل پاشیده شدن کاسه ی غروره، مثل تنگ غروب، مثل حس جنون، مثل قطبه بدخیم سطح راه رگ منفی سیاحت تمازوزه ی سگه، مثل پا پاشیدن اسید رو صورت یه گل، مثل بی هوشی آدم و شورت شور، مثل پینه های بس روی دست عشایر، مثل دفن عقاید توی بد جراید. من مثل تو نباشم و تو مثل من نباشی و به کار هم نپاشیم و به کار هم نشاشیم و من مثل تو نباشم و تو مثل من نباشی و به کار هم نپاشیم و به کار هم نشاشیم و بر تنهایی بیا، 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 بیا تنها نباشی، بر تنهایی بیا، بیا تنها نباشی، مثل کشکول دور دور دل درویشه، تای خنده ی تلخه ی هنر پیشه، مثل بازی با توپ پاره تو جنوب شهر، مثل در و دیوار دلی که بابا باد خره، مثل پول جایزیه، مثل وام کلانه، مثل نزول آقا تو لوبیای مامانه، خوره عشق جبینه شبیه سخت جنینه، شرم نگاه یه پدر به ترکای زمینه، بر تنهایی بیا، 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 بیا تنها نباشی، بر تنهایی بیا، بیا تنها نباشی، بر تنهایی بیا، 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 بیا تنها نباشی، بر تنهایی بیا، بیا تنها نباشی. قبر خدا دفن صدا بغض گلوی آقای گل، پشت چراغ گم شدن هویت زن تو سوراخ، سر بریده گل پنبه، ربن و غروب جمعه، دور سیگاری که میده بگا ویدیوی اعدام و بیا نگاه، میسوزونه مثل لیمو رو زخم، عرق نون با گره یخ، میشینه میزنه پیشونی سنگ، جبر قوی تر از جف، کوله سگ با تفنگ، ماچ بیگناه تو دست بند، مرد بیکار زیر فشار، دخترای ستاره دار، توق دور گردن کفتر چای یخ بر کار کارگره، مثل بالا کشیدن زمینای مردمه، نبود وجود زن توی استادیومه، سرما سلفی با گورخواب، سعید توسی بره کار، قرض موشک حمله بدیش فرضیه جنگ، دشمن خیش بی صدا بودن افغانا، منم و ما شما، بیا انسان باشیم، بیا امسال پاشیم، منها کنیم کینا رو تسلیم نشیم، بد نکنیم بدی مال آدم بده، درد کسی رو دید و میشه پا نشد مگه، نبینم اتال کنی آرزوهاتو، به سوی نور روزنه یه جاشو. بر تنهایی بیا، 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 بیا تنها نباشی، بر تنهایی بیا، بیا تنها نباشی، بر تنهایی بیا، 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 بیا تنها نباشی، بر تنهایی بیا، بیا تنها نباشی.
I'm definitely loving this video every
Yeah.
time. And I still should translate it to Turkish.
I think so. Actually, if anybody can help me with that, I would add it just to the video. I can just add in a different subtitle to the video, because I feel like the stuff that I talk about in this video is like resonates with a lot of people. Actually, a lot of people contacted me, people from Lebanon, from Syria, from Turkey. They contacted me and they said, you know what, that was my pain when what you talked about over there. And yeah, you are all going through the same experience in a way. So yeah, please send me the Turkish translation.
I will. I promise.
Well, we'll open it all up to some Q&A if everybody is on board with that. I would love to see what kind of questions are in the room. Anyone want to jump in?
Also, I just wanted to say to all these lovely people that in the chat are showing their support, solidarity, and love. I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for saying what you're saying here. It's just art. Art does that. And this is the message behind my art. Thank you. Thank you for saying that.
Thank you. I know I've been very touched over here. I've been actually tearing up a little bit. It's really powerful to hear about what's happening in Iran and the queer movement of coming together and getting minorities together and out of oppression through finding commonalities between the ways that we are repressed by our social structures. So thank you so much for sharing this work. And I thought it was so powerful, the lyrics of the song that you sung when you were still in Iran. And I bet that was a very intense experience of having to leave after creating such powerful work. I know that we have quite a lot of people at task tackling really difficult projects and subjects and topics. And I was wondering if you had any advice for artists out there coming into making work in such a powerful way and kind of living through both releasing that and making it.
Thank you so much for saying that. I mean, I'm really humbled and loved by every single message that I get. It just makes me go harder. And there's so many people out there doing this in their own medium and in their own way. And I just want to say, everybody's contribution matters, and nothing will get unnoticed. So that's really important to realize that what you do with your arts, with your arts and activism together, regardless of what you're working on, never feel hopeless. And sometimes social media is not nice. Is you know, it's all about is it getting attention? And then you see something that's not saying anything really, but it gets so much attention. And then you feel like, oh man, what am I doing this for? Like, who am I doing this for? And, you know, there's this like a discouragement, unconscious discouragement that might come to you. And just to remember, that's just social media. We take it very seriously. And yes, it's a very great tool in so many ways, but at the same time, when you have a human connection with anybody, even one person, when you have that conversation or you show them your art and they feel moved by your art, or they feel moved by what you're trying to say, or they feel connected to your art, that's like your mission is accomplished. And that's what matters the most. Connecting with other humans and creating an environment that people can feel and think and question and criticize. And this is the most important thing. So don't get discouraged. First of all, for anybody who's out there, I know there's so much unworthy content on social media. And I know that more and more we're going inside, getting deeper in the social media world. But social media is not everything. And don't forget, it's just one tool out of so many others. and you have your human connections, you have your jam sessions, you have your workshops, you have your small circles, you have your groups, Telegram groups, or whatever that puts you in touch with other people. And those are the real conversations. Getting validation from social media does not show your worth or your art's worth. This is something that I think a lot of people get discouraged, because I know it's not easy to deal with. You work so hard and then you create something really amazing and meaningful, and then people are, okay, you get like 20 likes, or I don't know, 100 or whatever that is, and then you're like, okay, you know, what the hell, like, you know, you're my friend, come support me here, put a little comment here, you know. But that's not the only way that you can send your message across. And for those that are living under an oppressive dictatorship regime and government, find ways to be safe first, because your safety is the most important thing, because you need to continue your fight and take calculated risks. What I did, the price for that was leaving my family, my friends, my country behind, and the possibility of not seeing them again. But thanks to the youth in Iran, I'm hopeful, and I'm doing everything I can to come back, because I miss Iran and I love Iran so much. But it was necessary to do so at the time. And I did it because somebody had to pave the way, in a way. But the path to redemption, to freedom, to justice has so many different avenues. And maybe there are some people who are doing something in the forefront of the movement. There are some people who are taking care of those in the forefront of the movement. There's some other people that are doing the back end work. All of it matters. So your safety comes first, because we can't let these oppressive regimes bring us down. We need to be smarter. We are the bug in the system. We are the bug in the system. And we are the one that will switch, make the whole system hang an error in the weirdest possible way. But you do that with your art, and do it in ways that can send your message across, but can keep you safe. And because we need you, we need every single one of you, because the regime is using all the money, the regime is using all the power, the propaganda machines, the lobbyists, the allies, everything. But what they don't know and they can't control is our creative ways of surviving, and not only surviving, to be resilient and finding ways to fight them. This is something that they cannot get their hands to. And you need to keep yourself safe to be able to do so. So again and again and again and again. And imagine if if this is a coding system, there's a bug here, there's a bug here, there's a bug here, there's a bug here, and all of a sudden these bugs are connected to each other and the whole system collapses. And that's what we want. Power to the people. So that would be my message to people who are doing art and activism under oppressive regimes, to just be resilient, safe, and read the system's moves ahead of them. It's like chess.
And to connect with community too, of connecting with those community members that really give you valuable feedback and support. Cloudy, I saw your hand up. Do you still have a question?
Yeah, I have. Thank you, Säye, for I don't know, it's been so inspirational. Your determination, your passion, your wiseness as well is really inspiring. I don't know, I have a couple of questions. One is like going back to what's happening in Iran right now, like watching from the TV over here. I was really struck by the amount of males, queuing. I don't know if you had something to say about that, because I think that's quite revolutionary to have so many I mean, I think the very young people, of course, and as you say, is a young revolution. I wonder about the elder man, if they are actually supporting you in such, strong way. That's one question.
Thank you so much for all the love. Appreciate you. I'm very humbled. One thing is, right now during this revolution, there's an area called the gray area. It's a term for it. Who is the gray area? The gray area is the previous generations that fought in different ways. They were shut down. They didn't have enough information. They didn't have access to the world, the free world. And they're very hopeless. They're depressed. They think this regime is never gonna go. They think they killed so many people of their friends and their allies and their circles. And they are very hopeless. Since the killing of Gina Mahsa Amini, this gray area is becoming more aware and aware and aware. And the generation that you're talking, the older generation, is in the gray area right now. And they see the youth, they see, because they've lost so much and they've seen so much loss. Sometimes they're even forbidding the kids to go to the streets. They're like, why are you gonna get killed? Why are you doing this? But the kids, they're like, I don't care if I get killed. I'm gonna go and fight them. I'm gonna go and shout Genjian Azadi. So this is the generation that is kind of a little hopeless, and rightfully so, because they shut down so many movements, right? But this time it's different. Why? Because first of all, there's such unity, incredible unity that's never been there before, because they hurt so many communities. They hurt teachers, doctors, workers, youth, queers, Baha'is, Jews, Christians, even the whole Muslim community. You know what I mean? They hurt so many people that for once, everybody's out right now. So those people are in the gray area right now, but every day we see them more and more. And when I say we see them more and more, they're coming to the streets more. That's one thing. They're also becoming more active on social media. They're leaving comments like, okay, I'm getting more hopeful now. Okay, now I was not hopeful up to this point, and now I'm feeling more hopeful. I'm going to streets. Kudos to you guys. Or they're also doing the back-end work. I know that we have stories of elderly and like the older generation being very aware of what's going on, creating struggles for the guards to go after the kids, or opening the doors to be like, okay, come on in, helping other people with the injured people. So more and more, the more we go, because the regime was like, oh yeah, it was just a protest, it's gonna go down. But you know what? They made their biggest mistake by killing more people after Gina, and it did not die down. People got more angry, and they came out more. So that's why 2 days ago the protest never seen like that, not even when Gina was killed. So it's like, this is a ball, you know, when you start a snowball, it just gets bigger and bigger. Other people are also joining. There are also these people. I recently released a video. It all kind of went viral, actually, because I only have, 6,000 followers on Instagram. But this video, in like a week now, it's at almost 300,000 views from my own channel, and it's been reshared from different channels. And in this video, 1 minute 40 seconds, I talk about the diaspora. I tell them there's this petition that is asking, because so many times we've seen the regime uses the embassies outside Iran to spy on people, to kill the activists outside. Even in Berlin, where I am, somebody at a demo came and told me, it was very busy, I could not see him, but he was like, nobody has stabbed you with a knife, huh? And then he ran in the crowd and I could not see his face. And I was just shouting, no, because nobody has the balls to do so. And then people around me were like, oh my gosh, sorry, what's going on? And I was like, nothing, don't pay attention. But that was a threat right there in the democracy of Berlin. So, and then somebody in Toronto ran over a protester in front of, like this, these things are happening. So this petition is specifically about asking the G7 countries to send back these people that are saying that they're the representatives of Iran, because they're not actually. When you go and read their history, they're a Sepahi, they're with IRGC, they have a history of military, they have history of spying, you know, and they all have this. This is not just one incident. This is not an incident. So this message, and people still can do their paperwork, their visa and everything, because, for example, in Canada, we don't have an embassy. And but people travel and, like, you know, migrate and all of that. So this is a political act. So this video was for diaspora, because I was talking to somebody and she told me, yeah, but if the embassies get closed, I want to go to Iran in the summer. And I was like, listen, kids are dying on the streets. There is no summer. There's only one season, and that's the revolution season until the spring comes. So you don't worry about you going to Iran in the summer, next summer. Are you out of your mind? How out of touch are you? And this video is going around, and a lot of people from the previous generations left comments saying, thank you for saying that, because I did not do this when I could do. I did not make this act, or I didn't act enough when I could, when we were on the streets. So yes, we have to stand behind each other. So this is happening. Yes, it takes time a little bit. At the forefront of these movements are queers and youth in Iran, and queers, women, youth in Iran, but the unity is there. They're helping. They're just a bit too sad. And one of the mothers of the victims, Nika Shakarami's mother, it was Nika's 40th day yesterday. You know what she said? She said, my daughter, you are the reason that so many people feel this in their hearts to come to the streets today. And I'm so proud of you. She was 16 when they killed her with multiple baton hits. And they kidnapped her body for a week, assaulting her body. And this is the mother that's saying that. So imagine what kind of a strength she is giving us and everybody. And she is from the older generation. So I have hope.
Oh, I'm gonna cry. Okay.
Oh, I know. I've just
Also,
kind of been at the brink of tears.
when you were saying that, stay safe, I was thinking that threats you get, and I was like, hope you're doing yourself the same too.
Yeah, no, I do. I actually, I have to, because I mean, I'm a part of all these demos in different chants. I'm leading chants. I'm giving speeches. This is, we were in front of the Iranian embassy, the regime's embassy, after they attacked Evin prison. And I always go around with friends, and we have to be vigilant. We have to be, as I said, we cannot lose each other right now. We have to be safe. And yeah, I take precaution for sure.
Great. Stay safe. Thank you so much for coming and speaking with us.
I think Claudia has another question.
Yeah, Claudia.
Can I ask one quick, Amber? Do we still have time? 2 minutes? Thank you. I just, like I'm thinking a lot about, this is a generation for, for the next this is a revolution for the next generation as much as it is for the young generations. But I wonder how could as an elderly person, I mean, how could the elderly be instructed, to support you? Because I don't know, I feel that maybe, you know, social media and all of that is a little bit out of their hands. I wonder how could that be slipped in? I mean, I don't know, so if that's a thought, yeah.
Right. Well, the thing is, first thing and the most important thing, do not discourage this generation. Support them with words, and words can go a long way. And even if they do a little thing or so, even whatever the stories that they tell you, or they're passionate about something, or they're fighting for something, or if they're printing, because right now they're printing stuff because they shut down internet and they want to create demos and stuff. Support them financially, for sure. Give them that pocket money to do whatever they want to do. Trust that they know what they're doing. This generation is very bright. This generation needs, all they need is a little support, a little pat in the back, because they're the leaders. This generation does not need a leader, because in every single youth, there is a leader. They're thinking about everybody. They're thinking about the whole process, and they're together in it. So supporting them emotionally is very important. Trusting them. Don't diminish what they do. Don't tell them that you're just a kid, because you know what? Yes, they're a kid, but they have a horizon of an ocean. So nothing can beat that. They're very woke. They're woke kids. And this is so important, to support them and not diminish their work and not discourage them. And if they tell you, I don't know, if you can sign petitions. If you can provide space for them, provide space for them. If they want to have meetings, don't just be discouraging, and make sure that they're nourished and they're loved, and give them hope, and keep telling them that I'm so proud of you. What you're doing, we could not achieve, but we believe in you, because they need to hear it from you too. They believe themselves, but they also need to hear it from their peers, that they also believe in them. And this is so important, because all they need is a little bit of love. It can go a long way, and you can show love in so many different ways.
Thank you so much, Säye. That's
Can you
been
write
so
a song
inspiring,
about that,
powerful.
There is a question. Can you write a song about this?
You know what? I'm just gonna write it down in my notebook after this. So yes, I put that in there, because this was also, I think this is also something that families need to hear. So yes, thank you for asking the questions. I'll write it down.
Thank you, Säye. We're out of time, and you know, I cannot have you enough anytime. I love you.
I love you so much. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much, everybody, for making the time and listening to this conversation. And this is so important. Thank you so much. And just raise the awareness, and talk to your friends, families, support this movement. And just know that Jin Jian Azadi, Zan Zendegi Azadi, woman life freedom does not only belong to Iran. It's a universal message for everybody who's living under oppression. So please be safe and support this movement.
Artists around the world, teaching artists around the